he's just the beginning. Until him and his cohorts are all held to account publicly and legally. Because for 4 years, I've been screaming, not just Diddy, but Diddy and Jay-Z are monsters. Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, Robert Kelly, Sean Combs have one person in common.
This Diddy thing is bigger than what you think. There is layers to this case. A couple of days ago, there was an interrogation video that was released. It was a few years back, and in that interrogation video, a guy comes out, says that he was a SAG worker for Diddy, and he goes into all these elaborate stories about it. Not to mention, a couple of days ago as well, a lawyer from Houston says that he has 120 cases that he's representing in civil cases, and he's got evidence. And then in this video, we got Jaguar Wright. She's been talking about this, but she's talking about it more. Now she's on the Piers Morgan show. We got to check this out, and then I'm going to comment at the end so we can get the mind of God about this. But let's listen to what she's got to say.
The victims, they're not safe.
How bad was it?
That's what I care about. I care about the victims.
No, I understand. How bad was it, do you think? What was going on?
I'm going to tell you right now that me, as a woman who has been in the industry for over 30 years, I've been performing live since I was 13. My first handler was McKinley Horton. I come to find out 25 years later that a scar that was on his face with a very elaborate story he gave me was put there by a woman who he assaulted. To live through these things and hear your elders in the business, people like Patti LaBelle say, just avoid him, honey. And being taught to be just avoid him, honey. It's not good enough. Not when you live through these things, you're still suffering the PTSD created by all of this, and you're talking to a victim that's 20 years younger than you, and she's telling you the exact same thing that happened to you. So you want to know why there's no vindication for me? Because for 4 years, I've been screaming, not just Diddy, but Diddy and Jay-Z are monsters. And the victim-making machine kept going on.
Jay-Z has been notable by his silence since these charges were brought against Diddy. Why do you think that is?
Because that's what he does. He starts little fires everywhere, forces everyone involved to go and carry water while he sneaks away without a response. That changes now, Sean. You must respond. You have no choice. Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, Robert Kelly, Sean Combs have one person in common, professionally and privately. Sean Carter. This has been a fist of tyranny that has been punching through our culture and our society for decades. It must stop.
There's been obviously a lot of
cruelty-free artistry.
Right, there's been a lot of rumor mill about what has happened in the rap world. A lot of allegations that the misogyny in the lyrics clearly was based on a general misogyny towards women away from the music. And that clearly seems to have been borne out by these charges against Diddy, which if he's found guilty of all this, he's never coming out of prison. How dangerous do you think...
Thank God.
How dangerous do you think he is as a person?
I think he's one of the most dangerous people I've ever met. A lot of people have been questioning, well, she doesn't really know him. She has no knowledge of him. She doesn't have a picture with him. I'm smarter than Claudia Jordan. I would never take a picture with the devil. Everyone knew he was the devil. He's been the devil for 30 years. He's been covered and protected by not only Clive Davis, but Lucian Grange. He was selected to be the demon that he is, to keep the culture in line so the industry could continue to rape it for all of its precious jewels. We have too many lost. The list of lost is ridiculous. And everyone knows Diddy was selected for this job. He's the Judas.
Do you think that if he's cornered in the way that he's been now, that he may start revealing things about other people?
He has no choice. His ego and his drug addiction won't allow him to do anything different. Anybody who thinks he's not going to talk is crazy. The simple fact that he's not saying more now only means that the people who have been protecting him all along, who put him in position to be such a horror to the Black community, still find value in him. He's got everybody on tape. They all know it. It's a mess.
For those who were never at these freak-off parties, what were they like?
See, this is the thing. Everything that I'm about to say to you is not my firsthand knowledge. It is my firsthand witness account experience. I was a sex worker. I was a dominatrix before I got my record deal. That's how I know how the dark world and the sex world and the entertainment world run hand in hand. That's why the movie Blink Twice is so important. Salute to Zoe Kravitz. The sex workers that I have worked with throughout the years and continue to work with even to this day have worn hidden cameras. I have my own tapes. I've seen what they do. The ritualistic behaviors, the drugging, putting girls in the suitcases, dumping them in alleyways. It's horrifying. And it's all done under the protection of, this is going to be paid off. There's another NDA. This is going to be, it's terrible.
It seems to have been something that a lot of people knew about, but people were simply too scared to talk about.
Everyone knows. And every person that's sitting there trying to act surprised knows very well. The whole point of this, like Cat Williams said when he sat with Shay Shay earlier this year, the whole point of this is for them in a coordinated effort to pretend like none of it is real for the public's perception. But everyone knows what's going on, and it's been going on for years. It's been going on before Diddy. See, people keep looking at him like he's the Sputnik that came out of nowhere. This is someone who was designed to be what he is. We got to stop making Diddies. And if we're going to do that, then we got to go back. We got to go back to even further, the mentors of these people. Because Diddy was taught how to do what he does systematically, and Clive Davis has been his greatest teacher.
Look, Clive Davis is not here to respond to that, nor is Jay-Z. But a lot of people, famous people in the music industry, have been notable, like I say, by their silence so far. It's also been notable that since the Me Too campaign began in 2017, the music industry has largely avoided the same scrutiny that other industries have had. Why do you think that is?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Since Me Too began in 2017, the music industry has largely avoided the same kind of scrutiny that other industries have had. Why do you think that is?
Well, because the Me Too movement was a ruse. It was a setup. It was a scam. I'm saying that now, publicly. Dream Hampton spearheaded the Surviving R. Kelly campaign, which it fueled the Me Too campaign. And that was all funded by Sean Carter to make sure that Robert Kelly went to jail. Get his lick back. Why is nobody understanding that Dream Hampton was being financed and ran by Sean Carter? They were able to go and get all of these witnesses because he was there with Robert Kelly. How does Jay-Z sit down with Gayle King and she not ask him one question about the intersection between him and Aaliyah and Robert Kelly? This is insane that people keep refusing to see what's right there. If the Me Too movement were real, why aren't they speaking now? They've also been very quiet in this time of the diddler's downfall.
Jaguar,
guess they're on vacation.
If this goes to court, Jaguar, do you think the world is going to be shocked by what comes out?
Oh, absolutely. I just don't know why they are. It's been happening in front of everyone's faces for decades. For decades.
How many victims?
What's the difference between me and Judy Garland? Social media.
How many victims?
There was none for her.
How many victims potentially do you think there could be?
Thousands. Thousands. I've talked to hundreds that I deal with still myself. I have 3 victims right now who are willing to give testimony about not only what Mr. Carter has done to them, but his wife as well. They're a nasty little couple. They do nasty things.
What do you think happened with Kim?
Keeping people against their will. Putting people on planes while they're unconscious, just like Aaliyah got on that plane. Unconscious. There's a lot of things that people don't want to talk about, Piers.
Listen, like I said, Jay-Z and Beyonce are not here, unfortunately, to respond to that.
I know. I'm just being honest with you.
You're perfectly entitled to your views, obviously. Kim Porter,
yes.
A new book claims that Diddy may have been involved in her early death. What do you think of that?
I think people should really look into that more. I am friends with Albie Shore. I love him. I love his children. I knew Kim. We used to all hang out together at the Kit Kat Club back in the mid-90s when Diddy was first starting his reign. I watched that whole thing happen. And everything that Albert has been through, every attempt on his life that has been ignored by the authorities, it all leads back to Diddy. And everyone knows it. The wiretapping of the phones, putting AirTag on children during visits. These are normal practices that these people do.
Now we're going to stop it right there, but right after this, DJ Vlad jumps in and he says that Jaguar Wright has been known to be a conspiracy theorist, and so he tries to discredit everything that she says. And while that may be true, that people have been labeling her as a conspiracy theorist, the interesting thing about Jaguar Wright is that this is stuff that she has been saying even before this indictment and before P Diddy got locked up. And so myself personally, I think that kind of validates at least some of the things that she's saying. Maybe not everything, but at least some of the things that she is saying can be validated by the fact that now everything is coming to the light. And it's a scary thing to think about, all of these different things that she is saying. But what's interesting even more to me is that literally just yesterday, I was having a conversation with somebody about this, and my thoughts on this were this very thing that she is saying in this video. And so it kind of validated me, because what I was saying is this is bigger than just Diddy. See, people are looking at P Diddy and they're like, oh man, P Diddy, and they got all the jokes. They're talking about the baby oil and they talking about all these different things, the Diddy party, and all of this stuff. All of the focus is on Diddy. But I believe, just like Jaguar Wright said, Diddy is just a puppet in this. Diddy is just a puzzle piece, a pawn. He is just a puzzle piece in this, or chess piece rather. Diddy is just a chess piece in this, and he is a piece, a smaller piece of the puzzle. But what I meant to say is he's just a chess piece in this, a pawn that is being moved strategically. He's not the one that's behind everything in all of this. There are people bigger than Diddy that have been involved in this, people that are bigger than Diddy that have delegated him to be this. He's just the face. That's what Diddy is. He's the face of something bigger that is going on in Hollywood and going on in the music industry. He's just the fall guy. He's just the guy that if everything hits the fan, he's the guy that's supposed to take the rap and is supposed to go down for it, because those big wigs and these higher elite people are not the ones that want to go down. So they allowed him to be this public face and to make him toot his own horn and make himself feel good by having these big parties, and guaranteed those people would pop up in those parties and different things like that. And so no doubt there's probably some video footage with them on there and all of these different things. But Diddy has become the scapegoat, the fall guy for everything that has happened and the deeper stuff that's going on behind the scenes. And so what I really want to point out about this is that we have to be careful what we give ourselves to. The fact that things like this have been coming out for a while now, it truly matters. The issue is that when things like this come out, a lot of times they get swept under the rug, or people tend not to give them too much attention or don't make any adjustments because of the things that they are hearing, because to them it really doesn't matter. But I'm telling you, this stuff should matter to us and what we give ourselves to. Because maybe you never went to a Diddy party before. Maybe you're not the type to get into all this weird, kinky stuff that P Diddy is doing and his associates are doing. But if you are partaking in Hollywood and you're watching these movies and you're listening to these musicians and you're engaging with this and you're allowing these people to pretty much speak into your life through their music and their songs that they make and anything that they put out in the media, you're allowing these people to speak into your life, and because of that is doing something inside of you, and it can mess things up inside of you. And I believe what is happening right now is God is bringing what was in the dark to the light. He is exposing some things, and he's allowing some people to see, because the Bible says that Satan, he has blinded the minds of those that don't believe in these last days. He's blinded people's minds. And so God is trying to illuminate. God is trying to get us to see. Myself personally, 12 years ago when I became a Christian, I cut out everything associated with Hollywood, all music, all movies, all television. I cut out everything. Nobody had to tell me anything. And this is the reason why, is because I had got involved and caught up in like this type of stuff, what you can consider as a conspiracy. And actually, this is heavily a part of my testimony of how I came to Christ, is because I saw the demonic in Hollywood and movies and all of this stuff. And that's what I was pursuing. I was trying to be a famous rapper. And when I was confronted with all of these things, I was like, you know what, man, if this evil stuff is real, the God stuff is real too. And I want to make sure I'm on the right side. And so eventually I gave my life to Jesus Christ. And when I did that, I cut out everything. No more. I'm not going to let these people minister to me. I'm not going to let them speak into my life. I'm not going to let that stuff corrupt and taint my spirit. And I believe that is a decision that you also need to weigh out. Should you allow yourself to continue to partake in these things when there's some wicked, dark stuff that is going on behind the scenes? Should you bring this into your home? Should you allow your kids to be partaking in this? My answer is, I don't think so. But that's something for you to weigh out. Because it's only going to get bigger from here, and only more stuff is going to come out. And God only knows who is going to get named or dropped that was involved in this, and who's not going to get mentioned, because everything is still getting covered up. Because this is what she says in this video. Things have been getting covered up. People have been protecting him because there are bigger parties and bigger things involved. And you got to make a decision. I'm asking you, make the decision. Honor God in this, because when you partake in this, it is not the mind of God. This is what the God of this world wants us to partake in. If you enjoyed this video, do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe, and share it to somebody else that you know. And then drop a comment in the comment section. Maybe you can help me get the mind of God on this one. And remember, we all have a mind, but there's no better mind than the mind of God.